So we are going to talk now on how to slam. Now that's a very big topic. How to slam. Now, just like every other art, poetry slam has its own rules, tricks. Behind the performances, behind the claps, behind the finger snapping, behind the audience cheering and everything, there are months, weeks, days of practice, days of memorizing, days of trying to get better at doing this thing. I want to make you understand that poetry slam is not automatic. Everybody you see on stage there didn't just come on stage to slam. Now remember that in the last module we spoke about people who slam for experience. Now those people are wise, because the more you experience slam, the more you listen to other people who are slamming, the more you listen to judges who judge your work, the more you get better in it. The more you get better at slamming, the more you get better at writing your piece to win a slam. Now I have to make you understand that poetry slam has tricks, and I'm going to let you into some of those tricks. Now, do you know that there are some poetry slam artists who before an event go as far as researching on the judges that are going to judge the event? Now, how do they do this? They go as far as asking themselves, are these judges poets? If they are poets themselves, have they done any poetry release before? Have they judged any poetry events before, a slam before? Now, if they have a poetry work that is out, probably a poetry audio or video, what kind of poems do they like? If they judged a poetry event before, what kind of advice did they give to the poets that slammed in that event? What kind of poems did they pick as the winning poems? What were the kind of poems that they condemned? So people go as far as researching on the judges to find out these things. Now, others go as far as researching on the organizers of these competitions. What is this agency? What is the organization? What are they about? Does this event have a team? Because there are tricky kind of spoken word events that come with teams. In fact, there are tricky kind of spoken word events that every stage has a team. So if there are 4 stages, you have 4 different teams. So how do you play around this? How do you write? And in fact, it becomes even more difficult when a poetry slam has a team. Now let me tell you this. If a poetry slam is open, and probably all you are told to do is do a poem of 2 minutes, do a poem of 3 minutes, do a poem of 1 minute, you can go and pick your best. Okay, you can pick your best 3 poems and put out there and hope that your performance does a lot of good for you and is better than the other person's. But when it has a team and they say everybody writes about government, that makes it smooth tricky, because everybody is now put in a box and they are to write around this one thing. Now, how do you make yours unique? How do you make yours stand out? How do you make yours different from what the next person is going to write? Like my friend Welwa Onkos of Zambia would say, he once gave an example of a poem he helped his friend write for a poetry slam event, where the team was to write about your president. And he knew that every other poet was going to write about, of course, the democratic president of their country. And so what he did was, he put it upside down and he wrote about a girl, a love poem. Yeah, a love poem. And what it was about was a guy who is trying to talk to a girl and telling her, let me be the president of your heart. So our heart is the country, while he would be the president ruling over our heart. That is very creative, that is very unique, but that also can be very, very dangerous. It has happened to me before. Now let me give you the experience. There was a slam I entered in for, okay? I think it was like a Sarah Slam of 2020, okay? And the theme, it had a theme. The theme was, what was the theme of that slam? Okay, so all right. So this slam I entered in 2020, the La Casera slam. It had a cash prize of 1 million naira, of course, and it had a theme. The theme was, "This is not a full stop." So basically, the idea the organizers of that slam was trying to say was, 2020 was when COVID-19 came and it crumbled so many things. People lost hope, there was so much depression, and the organizers of the slam were trying to use the poetry slam to give people hope that this is not a full stop, that there is more to life than COVID-19. So I went into that slam and I understood that every other person who went into that slam was going to write about COVID-19. So what did I do? I did what my friend Wewa Uncles did, and I wrote about something different from COVID-19 that also rhymed with the theme. I actually wrote about child abuse. I wrote about child abuse, the experience of somebody who had been abused, and the fact that that is not a full stop. It was so lovely, it was so beautiful, the crowd loved it. So many persons commented on the stuff, but then the judges kicked it out because that was not what they wanted. So yes, this kind of slams that come with a theme, they are very tricky. You might want to be smart to actually want to be unique, but as much as you try to be unique, try to be reasonable. Try to understand what the judges want. Try to understand that if you want to do what I just did, what I did in 2020 that kicked me out of the slam, that you are taking a risk. Are you ready to take that risk? If you are not, then try to play around the general knowledge of that team and see how you can make yours unique. But again, how to slam. The best advice I would give on how to slam is to learn from champions. In the second module, I took out time to list top notable poetry slam competitions and past winners, and that was intentional. And I told you, read about these people, go on YouTube, listen to them. What was their style? How did their performance go? What was their stage attitude like? Look at those people, then you understand. Now this is another tricky part of it. There are some slams that have a key. There are some slams where the organizers of that slam have a particular topic or a particular theme that they love so much. So what do? You go back to the last 5 years of that slam, try to see who won these slams. Now, when the poems that they used to win this slam, what were these poems about? Was it about culture, technology, education, politics? Now, if you notice that in the past 5 years, every of the poem that won this slam was about culture, try as much as you can to understand that this organizers of this slam have a preference for culture. So try as much as you can to write your poem around culture. Okay? Try to research on many of these competitions. Listen to past winners. That is why in this academy we have another course that we call How to Slam, Learning from Champions. We brought about 3 slam champions, one from Nigeria, of course, myself. We have Wewa Uncles from Zambia, who won an international poetry slam in New Zealand, your place poetry slam in New Zealand, also won the national poetry slam in Zambia. Then we have Alejandro Jimenez of Mexico, who of course won the Mexico National Slam, has a lot of other slams that he has won. Very experienced slam champion who is also going to represent Mexico in the regional slams in Brazil. So that course is going to show you, make you listen to slam champions, their experiences, their tricks, how they went around their victory, and of course that's the best way to learn how to slam. Listening to champions, researching on the competition, researching on the judges as well, and of course trying as much as you can to make sure that your content is good. So see you in the next course, How to Slam, Learning from Champions. I remain Peter Benjamin Peter.